Namaste. The number one thing people ask me for in the studio is, help me learn how to breathe. I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I can't breathe properly. I don't get enough air. So I wanted to talk a little bit about breath today, not so much the mechanism, but why this is happening. I for sure can teach you the mechanism of how to breathe. It's quite simple actually. You have a diaphragm. When you breathe, your belly should move slightly out and sideways. It's a myth that you need to push it out. Don't do that. You'll run out of air by the time you get to your chest. And as the belly just gently expands, your diaphragm will drop and you will have all this space to then inhale, expand the lung, and bringing oxygen into your body. When it comes into your chest, you want your chest to move out and up, fill the underarms, but don't use your back muscles. You're using slight core. These muscles here, these muscles here, and these muscles here. When you exhale, the breath will come out of your chest first, your ribs will move down and in, and your belly will move in and up. There are two nerves here called phrenic nerves. They speak to your diaphragm. They tell your diaphragm when to lift and when they fall. That's the mechanism of breathing. You breathe through your nose, not your mouth. You breathe through your nose and gently as if there was a hole in the base of your throat. Now, I can teach you that. You can go away and try it and then probably call me in about a month and go, I'd like my money back because I'm still having problems breathing. Well, breath is a mechanism. It is the most unbelievable mechanism in your body because your breath will always tell you what is happening inside of you. If you are in a state of dis-ease, anxiety, fight, flight, and freeze, stressed, overly active, your breath is going to become shallow. You're going to breathe from here. It's going to be very fast and it's going to be very shallow. And as a result, you're always going to feel like you're gasping for breath. You're always going to feel like you're out of breath. You're probably going to feel a lot tired, a lot more tired than you would if you had a breath through the whole lung. The reason you're feeling all this is for a couple of reasons. One is if you're just breathing in this small capacity, so you're just inhaling this much oxygen, then this is how much carbon dioxide is going to come out. And as a result, you are just recycling bad air. It's like sewage water and feeding your cells all that. If you use your entire lung, you're inhaling this much oxygen and you're releasing all the carbon dioxide with each breath. So your whole body and all your cells are getting fresh air. So if you're not in balance inside you, in your mind, in all your systems, your breath is always going to be a struggle. So no matter how much I teach you, if you don't bring your entire being back into balance, which means emotionally and mentally as well, this breath is always going to struggle. But let's take a step back. The number one thing that starts to contribute to this struggle in breath is this. Our shoulders are becoming rounded. We are becoming apes again. We are. Because every single day your bones are shifting and changing and we're leaching minerals from our bones and new bone is being laid on top of old bone. So if you are constantly in a state of mobile phone or computer disease, then when new bone is being laid down, your skeletal is going to change. And your entire skeletal structure will become like this, curled. When this happens, you're blocking your phrenic nerve from speaking to your diaphragm. And as a result, there's a miscommunication. So your diaphragm is no longer working properly. Because remember, every single mechanism in your body was set up in a way for you to survive and live a healthy, happy life. But it was set up in a way that in order for all these mechanisms to work, your heart, your liver, your kidneys, all of it, you have to be in a state of homeostasis. You have to be in balance. You have to mentally be in balance, emotionally, your pH level of your blood, all of it. You have to be in balance between your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. And if there is any imbalance at all in any layer, your breath is going to tell you that. And you cannot force your breath to go where it doesn't want to go. If you're in this state that I've spoken about, in one of these states, and you're trying to force your breath to get longer and come back to where it is, it's like trying to force a bull to go somewhere it doesn't want to go. You're just going to hurt yourself. And you're going to have to literally sit in conscious breath all the time. Every single moment of your day, you are going to have to be conscious of breathing from your belly up and down. And some of you, might be able to do it. I'd be very impressed. But I'd say most of you are only conscious of your breath when you sit down and somebody says to you, breathe. Or you're in a class, and a good class teaches you to breathe and guides you through an entire yoga class with your breath. So it doesn't matter how much I teach this to you. What really is going to make a difference is dealing with what's going on inside. When your breath is also very short and fast, what also happens to you is you become really reactive. So anything that happens, you react to it. You are not responding from a place of awareness. You're reacting from a place of fear, jealousy, insecurity, any of that. So it's not healthy for that reason as well. I'm just going to back up for 1 minute and go back to the shoulders, because although I can teach you to open the shoulders, and how we teach you to do that is by holding asanas for a really long period. So as a new bone is being laid down onto old bone, your shoulder and your skeletal structure is being restructured back into the way it should be. But the problem is, it's not just doing the asanas. A lot of people also have rounded shoulders because they're hiding from the world now. They don't want the world to see them. We wear masks. We no longer show our insecurities, our vulnerabilities. We think of it as weak. We're afraid that if we do, we will be abandoned, rejected, judged. So we hide and we hide. And we're not even aware of it. Even when we walk, we're starting to move. So we're back to that place that how do you open the shoulders? How do you realign your skeleton? How do you come back to a deeper breath? Well, you have to work on what's going on within. So the world we live in right now has most of you activated in your sympathetic, your flight, flight, and freeze system. This system was only set up originally for you to go into it when you were literally surviving. And by surviving, I mean that if you didn't survive that moment, you would be kaput. But we've changed that definition of survival, so we're always in that system now. What's contributing to it is competition, money, success, and social media. What you don't realize, the electromagnetic field of your phone puts your body into stress. Most people are speaking very fast. They're speaking at a very high frequency. They're using a lot of negative terms, a lot of fear. All of that puts your body into that fight, flight, and freeze system. Now, if you're in that system all of the time, then what's going to happen is now it's overactivated. So your breath is always shallow. And because it's overactivated, you're now starting to feel blockages as well. And those blockages are often here or here. Here because you're no longer speaking what you really need to speak. You're hiding, you're disappearing, you're blocking. You're so fearful of speaking up, of the consequences, the repercussions of it, that your breath gets blocked here. Here it gets blocked because you're not connecting to this area, your lower chakras, your sense of self, your self-worth, your belly, your digestion. All of this gets blocked. So when your system is overactivated, you're also struggling to come back to a normal breath because your body no longer knows how to come back into that calm system, because in that calm system, your breath becomes longer and you become more responsive. And then you become more aware of what's happening inside of you and what needs to be dealt with. But how often do any of you sit in that calm system? I would say not a lot of you. It's why we're in the world that we are today. We are living in a world plagued by diseases, anxiety, depression, all of that. And we are in that world today because none of us know how to breathe properly. And because it's like a chicken and egg thing, and because we're not breathing properly, it keeps pushing us into that system, pushing us into that system. And so now none of us breathe properly, so we're all reactive, we're all being driven by fear, we're all in our sympathetic nervous system. We're getting sick so much more because that breath, when it's here, it's not fueling and working all the systems that need to work for you to be healthy. What it's doing is it's taking all your energy and it's moving it to the extremities because it thinks you need to survive. So it's moving it to your eyes to dilate. It's moving it to your muscles to get ready to run. It's not moving it to your digestive system, your heart, your circulatory system. That oxygen and energy that you're inhaling really fast isn't going to run your systems. They're going to survive. And so we're getting sick a lot more often these days. Our immune system is completely compromised. And then we're back to not being able to breathe. So one of the things you can start to do is start to just take more and more time in a day to come back to slow breath, to start to teach your body that when it's been in a stressful situation, to not stay in it, to then come out of it, sit for 5 to 10 minutes and start to teach your body to come back to its healing system. And now the easiest thing you can do is just breathe from your belly button to your throat and back down to your belly button. And repeat the mantra for your breath, because every part of your body has a mantra, and that mantra is so hum. Synchronize the so hum with your breath. Every mantra holds knowledge, wisdom, a level of consciousness that when you repeat it, it will raise your consciousness to the level of the mantra's consciousness. So now you're teaching your body very slowly to come back to its sympathetic system. But the reason we're also avoiding that is because in that calming system, things will rise, and you don't want to deal with what you've been burying in your body, but you need to, because as long as your body is in discord, it's not in a good place, your breath is going to be shallow and you're going to die faster. In yoga, we say you come with a certain amount of breaths, and when those breaths are done, the transformation to the next stage happens. And that's true, because if you're breathing faster, your breaths are going to be done faster. And when you're breathing faster, then all that stuff I've told you is happening. None of your systems, your organs are getting the proper amount of energy, the proper amount of oxygen. You just are going to die faster. But here's the other problem, because it's not an easy solution. What's happening in the world right now is we're pushing in the West meditation, meditation, meditation. Use that to come back to your breath, to bring back to your calming system. But the problem with that is when you really sit in meditation and you do it properly, everything that's sitting in your subconscious that is influencing you to keep you in a state of discord, imbalance, will start to rise. And if you don't have the tools to deal with it, you would automatically think that all that's rising is you, and you will attach to it, and then you will drown. They did a recent study in the West that said meditation is actually creating depression in people, and I understand that, because you're rising stuff, but you don't understand or have the tools to deal with it. So in the West, what they've pushed is meditation, meditation, meditation. In the East, what they push is learn yoga. Yoga gives you the tools. First of all, yoga is going to explain all of this to you. It's the cosmic science of existence and of your form. So it's going to give you all the tools and the knowledge that when things rise, you know how to deal with them, and you have a toolbox to deal with them, and you don't drown. And then as you start to unpack and deal with them, your breath is going to get slower and slower, and you're going to get healthier and healthier, and you're going to start to speak slower, and you're going to start to speak in a calmer tone, and everything is going to come down, and your breath is going to come back to where it needs to come back. So it's not as simple as just learning the mechanism. There are things you can do to start. By what I've said is just coming back every day and breathing and being aware of what's rising, and just teaching your body to come back to a place of calmness. To do something every single day that brings you to your awareness of your breath, and then you just listen to your breath to understand what's going on. Because your mind can tell you you're fine, but your breath will never lie to you. So for a couple of weeks, I've been struggling. I've been rising more and more from my subconscious, because I meditate every day. And whatever was rising, I actually thought I was okay. I thought I'd reached that level on this yogic path that I'm good, I'm fine. But then I started to realize I was struggling to breathe. My breath was shorter, I was getting more tired, and I was like, what's going on with my breath? And I was like, have I got a chest infection, but I'm not sick? And then I understood that my mind had convinced me I was okay, but actually no, there was stuff I really needed to deal with. I couldn't hide from it, because my breath was saying, if you don't deal with it, you're going to sit in this state of struggle, and you're going to be exhausted, and it's not going to be comfortable. And no, it wasn't comfortable at all. So yes, learn the mechanism. Start to open your shoulders. Start to come to a place of quietness. Start to teach your body to go back to its calming system. And then start to do the work to bring your entire body back into balance. And part of that is also emotions. It's not only physically in balance, it's mentally in balance. So watching what's in your mind, changing the narrative. emotionally imbalanced. So it's not going to the extreme of like blurting out every emotion you have, but it's not living in this extreme of burying every emotion you have. It's releasing your emotions in a controlled and healthy way, expressing them. Because when you express them, you give them an avenue to leave. It's doing breathing exercises. Because the last thing is your breathing system, your respiratory system is run by a vayu, an energy system called prana. There's 5 major ones in our body. When energy is not flowing freely through this system, it's blocking your breathing as well. There are pranayamas, breathings, exercises for all 5 systems, because if energy is not moving through a system, that system is not going to work. So breathing is not as simple as like, let's just breathe from here and up and down. No. It's a bigger problem. And if we could all breathe properly, and we were breathing properly because we were living in balance, the world would completely change. Because when your breath is slow, when it's calm, you begin to sit in awareness. You're in your healing system. You begin to respond to life as opposed to react to life. You know, everything is like singing and happy inside of you. Now, can you imagine if we all were breathing it that way? What would this world look like? Turn off your TVs. Turn off your phones. Turn off the noise. You know, just be kind to you. In yoga, we have this saying that you are born with a certain amount of breaths, and when you have finished them all, you are kaput. Well, it's true. Because think of it, if I was born with 100 breaths and I breathe really quickly, I'm going to die much faster because I'm breathing quickly, I'm recycling bad energy, oxygen to all my body. My body is constantly in a state of stress. So yeah, of course, I'm going to die faster. But now if my 100 breaths are really slow, everything is being fed, everything is in balance and happy, I'm going to live a lot longer. So, food for thought today. Namaste. Happy breathing.